Hi, this is Tim Weaver from CVG. I'm here with Dan Dawkins from PSM. How you doing, Dan?
Very good today.
Good. So, God of War Ascension we've got here. You saw it at E3, Dan. Interesting, you were telling me before we recorded this that you weren't sure about it at the conference, but when you saw it up close, you really bought into it.
Yeah, I mean, I was live at the Sony conference and watched it from a distance of about 150 feet on a giant monitor. And I was really, I wouldn't have underwhelmed is the word, but it did absolutely nothing for me. I thought it looked very derivative of where it had been before. But I had it demoed to me the day afterwards at the Sony stand. And there was a guy playing on a really beautiful Sony screen, just a meter in front of me.
Yeah. And
when you see it live and up close on a real TV with a real PS3, you realise just how incredibly detailed each little character model is. Where what you can see here is that the big scale and the action and the fluidity of it. But when you can see almost like the leathery texture of Kratos' skin, you can see on the elephant character here, it just looks really almost like a claymation, like the old Harryhausen or whatever his figures. Really brilliant. And the guy demoing also said they've done a lot of work on like their cloth technology.
Right.
So you can look at Kratos' like man kilt. And even that you go, ooh, that's an impressive bit of kilt. And the figures feel real in the way that so solid and textured and lit so well, you feel like you could pick them up and pluck them out of the screen.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about what's changed, if anything, this time round.
Core gameplay, astonishingly similar.
Right.
Like a smart version of a button basher, which is what God of War did well in the early days. It was one of the first games to truly capture, the first Western game to capture what Japanese beat-em-ups always did really, really well in terms of impact and response and the animation and the timing. He's still got his Blades of Chaos. They've been adapted slightly. Some of his dodge and evade abilities have been adapted slightly, but it's all very familiar stuff. What you will see in a minute is that he's got this new ability to reconstruct and destruct part of the environment.
Okay, yeah, I saw some of that earlier on, yeah.
That's essentially one stop short of what Red Faction Armageddon did with it. So with that thing, and when I said to the guy, I said, well, how will this affect the game? And he said essentially a lot of it will be used in puzzles, so I guess there'll be a lot of bridge building and bashing and various different things. But again, I think it's more a case of something's built or it's not built, and you can leave it half built, but then it doesn't really do anything. So there's only really two states something can be, I think, pretty much.
And there's also multiplayer this time round, which is another big change of the series.
Yeah, 8-player multiplayer. There seems to be a lot of team-based multiplayer where you'll co-op with guys against other guys, trying to defeat some of the game's trademark mega bosses. That looks pretty neat, but again, it's got a feeling of what was the one obvious thing God of War lacked. It was multiplayer. Hey, we've got multiplayer.
Yeah, and is there perhaps a feeling that, I don't know, we've kind of been here quite a few times before, and despite the great cloth physics and the introduction of multiplayer, is there a sense that this series is sort of stagnating just a touch?
Yeah, I think there's a sense that this series is plugging a rather obvious gap in Sony's portfolio until they release new hardware, and I think it looks perfectly good, perfectly serviceable. People will play it. It'll probably be quite a good game, just an astonishingly familiar game.
God of War Ascension.